Sardesai, where remember the big political story is surrounded the political goings-on in the NCP and its supremo Sharad Pawar. We'll have plenty of that, asking the big question, what is really Mr. Pawar up to? Will Mr. Pawar now lead an opposition unity mission? All that and more in a moment from now. But first, the 9 headlines at 9. Massive escalation in the Russia-Ukraine war after Russia claims bid to kill President Vladimir Putin in a drone attack on the Kremlin. Putin unharmed, Ukraine denies its role. Suspense over Sharad Pawar's resignation. Several senior leaders and party cadres quit the NCP to mount pressure on Pawar to return as the NCP chief a day after he announced a decision to step down. Who will lead the party in 2024? Election Commission issues a notice to Mallikarjun Kharge for his snake remark and Priyank Kharge for Nalayak Beta attack on Prime Minister Modi. Notice also sent to BJP MLA Yatnal for calling Sonia Gandhi Vishkanya. Indian Olympic Association Chief PT Usha meets protesting wrestlers. This after she called the agitation indiscipline. Wrestlers defiant, says they won't stop till they get justice. Big relief for the film Kerala story in the top court. Supreme Court asked petitioners seeking disclaimer on movie to approach the Kerala High Court first. Ranchi court rejects Rahul Gandhi's plea seeking exemption from personal appearance in the Modi surname case. This a day after Gujarat High Court refused to suspend his conviction. India gears up for SCO foreign ministers meet. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar in Goa ahead of the meet. His Pakistan counterpart Bilawal Bhutto lands tomorrow. Airfares set to rise as much as 20% on some busy routes this summer. It's the big impact of Go First being grounded after filing for bankruptcy. And Lionel Messi suspended by Paris Saint-Germain after 2-day Saudi Arabia trip. The player's pay will be docked during the suspension. But the big story breaking today is coming in the Russia-Ukraine war. In a sensational claim, the Russians have claimed that there has been an assassination attempt on their president Vladimir Putin. Ukraine has accused Ukraine of using a drone attack to target the Kremlin. Ukraine has denied its role. Kremlin has warned of retaliation after the drone attack. The report says Putin moved to a bunker now in his Moscow home. A third drone has been found in a forest near Moscow. So a drone attack reportedly near the Kremlin, Russia claiming that it's a targeted attack on Vladimir Putin. Joining me now, Gaurav Sawant, who was in Ukraine, remember, last year for several months, and Geeta Mohan, our foreign affairs editor, who is in Goa ahead of that SCO meet. Gaurav, what are you picking up? Is this propaganda war, or was there a serious, is there something more serious to these accusations being made by the Russians?
Rajdeep, Kremlin has officially said that this is a terror attack and this was an assassination bid on President Putin. He, of course, wasn't there. Russia has also said, and that's significant, that they reserve the right to respond at a place and time of their choosing. And this, Rajdeep, may well be, the escalation. Ukraine says this is the escalation, the excuse the Russians were looking for. Remember, the war has already escalated in some sectors. Very recently, there were more than 100 rockets and missiles that were fired. One of the biggest ammunition dumps of Ukraine, where a lot of Western equipment that had come in for the spring offensive, that's where that weapon system was stored. That was targeted. Now, in the past 6 months, Putin has actually targeted some very vital strategic assets and points, but so has Ukraine. There have been 3 major incidents, Rajdeep. One was the sinking of the flagship of the Black Sea Fleet. The second was bringing down that bridge, the Crimea bridge, and the third is this attack that's taken place on Kremlin. This actually gives Putin the right to hit back in a very major way, as the Russians look at it, that they will now target Ukraine ahead of that spring offensive or the summer offensive of Ukraine to take back some of the territory that had been lost to Russia in the past 1 year, Rajdeep.
While you're, it obviously appears, therefore, the situation becomes more precarious. But Geeta Mohan, you are at that SCO meeting where Russia will be represented. How is this being viewed diplomatically at the moment? Russia, for many countries at the moment in the Western world, almost a persona non grata. But how will this be seen if Kremlin is able to provide credible evidence that their president, that there was a targeted attack on the Kremlin?
Well, Rajdeep, can't say that it is completely going to overshadow the proceedings and the conversations and the agenda of the SCO foreign ministers meet, but it certainly is going to take most part of the conversation on security, on any type of cooperation, and on conflict. When we were in Bali for the G20 summit, there was a missile that landed in Poland, which became a big deal, and the G7 had to meet on an emergency basis there. The entire meeting was overshadowed. Here, Lavrov being over here, he is going to raise the issue. This time tables have turned. It's not the Ukrainians or the West that's going to raise concerns with regards to Russian move. It's going to be Russia in the room talking about Ukraine and the attack on the Kremlin. The Russians for now believe that it's the Ukrainians. Ukraine has denied it. We'll have to wait for the findings, but this certainly is going to lead to an alarming situation at the Russia-Ukraine border, certainly. But over here at the SCO, where Lavrov will represent Russia, there certainly is going to be a lot of conversation on the war, the conflict, and how there is no forward movement unless and until the two sides come to the negotiating table, which certainly the Ukrainian side is not accepting of, given that Russia has usurped Ukrainian territory.
Okay, Geeta Mohan and Gaurav Sawant giving us the update on the very latest on the Russia-Ukraine war. Thanks very much. Okay, let's turn to the top political story of the day, and it's coming from here in Maharashtra, where NCP sources are now revealing to India Today that Sharad Pawar's resignation is unlikely to be accepted by a committee that's meeting on the 5th of May. NCP sources now telling us that the committee of NCP leaders will instead aim to convince Mr. Pawar to stay on as president. NCP sources are saying that Mr. Pawar is ready to play a national role. Working president may be now appointed for the organization of the party. The NCP sources saying there is no option to Mr. Pawar at this stage. So after all the high drama that took place with Sharad Pawar resigning or saying that he will step down as NCP president, the fact is that it appears increasingly likely that Mr. Pawar will be pushed to stay on by his party. All of that, of course, is leading to question marks. Has this all been stage managed in a way to corner Mr. Pawar's nephew, Ajit Pawar, who some reports suggest was planning to join the BJP? What exactly is happening on ground zero?
The Maha-political roller coaster is throwing up more twists and turns a day after Sharad Pawar announced his resignation as NCP boss. Even as Pawar is supposedly reconsidering the decision and will announce in a day or two, the NCP has been rocked by mass resignations as one wicket after another has fallen for the party. Party leader Jitendra Awad tendered his resignation as General Secretary of the party, and many more office bearers have also resigned with him.
आज महाराष्ट्रातल्या सर्वसामान्य कार्यकर्त्यांची भावना काय आहे की शरद पवारांनी राजीनामा देऊ नये आणि मग शरद पवार साहेब जर आम्हाला सांगतात तर मग त्यांनी त्यांची शिकवण लोकशाहीच्या मूल्यांबाबत त्यांची शिकवण मान्य केली पाहिजे.
The NCP is now battling this full-blown crisis, but the focus remains Kaun banega king in NCP? Who will be Pawar's successor? After an internal huddle sparked speculation that discussions were underway to choose the next NCP chief, the party vehemently denied the same.
आज कोई भी चर्चा वहाँ पे हो नहीं है, ना राष्ट्रीय स्तर की ना राज्य स्तर की. आज मीटिंग ही बुलाई नहीं गई थी.
Sources, however, have told India Today that Pawar's daughter Supriya Sule is the front-runner for the post. But then, what about Ajit Pawar?
If the Maratha strongman Sharad Pawar refuses to reconsider his retirement, NCP may opt for a makeshift arrangement of dual leadership. Considering her experience as Lok Sabha MP, Supriya Sule can be appointed as party's national chief, while Ajit Pawar will be more than content by being CM face.
महत्व ये है कि पवार साहब अध्यक्ष रहने चाहिए, ऐसी कार्यकर्ताओं की मांग है। अभी उसके बाद जो ऑप्शंस है उसकी आज चर्चा करने की हमारी पहली मांग अगर पूरी नहीं हो रही है तो अगले ऑप्शंस का विचार हो सकता है।
As the NCP deals with the Pawar blowback, questions loom on what this means for the Maha Vikas Aghadi. Allies Congress and Uddhav Sena are trying hard to claim all is well, but they are no doubt counting on a change of heart by Pawar.
माननीय पवार साहेब हे देशाच्या राजकारणामध्ये काम करत राहतील, विरोधी पक्षाचं नेतृत्व करत राहतील, भारतीय जनता पक्षाचं दिल्लीतून आणि महाराष्ट्रातून पूर्णपणे तो पक्ष निस्तनाबूत होत नाही सत्तेवरून, तोपर्यंत ते काम करत राहतील।
एनसीपी की कमान किसके हाथों में जानी चाहिए? आप एक
वो उनके पार्टी के अधिकार है, उसमें उनको किसी को भी बनाए वो उनका अधिकार है।
The Pawar play, as expected, has stumped political rivals. But perhaps the biggest hit is on the NCP itself and its allies. Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, I have been at the YB Chavan Center earlier today where the leaders were trying to persuade Mr. Pawar to take back his resignation. But I spoke to workers of the NCP and asked them a simple question. If Mr. Pawar is firm on his decision not to return as party president, who would they like? Listen in to what they had to say, almost with one voice. Since this morning, NCP workers have been here at the YB Chavan Center where Sharad Pawar is holding a meeting with senior leaders trying to convince Mr. Pawar to take his decision to resign as NCP chief back. I'm going to do a spot poll of these workers to find out if not Sharad Pawar then who. Zar Sharad Pawar अपने निर्णय पे कायम रहे और कहा मैं इस्तीफा दे रहा हूं तो कौन चाहिए आपको? अगर शरद पवार
कौन चाहिए उसके बारे में हम नहीं बात करेंगे, लेकिन पवार साहब ही चाहिए, हमको पवार साहब ही चाहिए। शरद पवार ने कहा ये हम बोलेंगे नहीं, लेकिन पवार साहब अगर इस्तीफा पे कायम रहेंगे तो पवार साहब के कार्यकर्ता भी इस्तीफा पे कायम रहेंगे। ये हम सब दे देंगे। नहीं, आप कह रहे हैं और कोई नहीं है पार्टी में?
जब तक पवार साहब है, जब तक दूसरा कोई नहीं है।
शरद पवार साहब इस देश की आखिरी उम्मीद है। आज के समय में देश को शरद पवार के विचारों की और निर्णयों की आवश्यकता है। ये राष्ट्रवादी की जरूरत नहीं है।
अगर उन्होंने निर्णय पर कायम रहे हैं तो क्या फिर?
हम अगर मगर पे विश्वास नहीं करेंगे, हम अगर मगर की बात नहीं करेंगे। हम चाहते हैं कि पवार साहब रहे, क्योंकि हम पवार साहब की वजह से राष्ट्रवादी में काम कर रहे हैं।
तो अगर शरद पवार कहे आप थैंक यू लेकिन मैं नहीं रह सकता,
हम उन्हें कन्विंस करेंगे,
पवार साहब को मजबूर करेंगे।
हम उनका हर बात मानते हैं, लेकिन ये बात नहीं मानेंगे उनको वापस लेना पड़ेगा राजीनामा। पार्टी में और कोई नेता नहीं है क्या? नेता पवार साहब जब तक है तब तक कोई दूसरा नेता होने
पवार साहब जैसा कोई नहीं है, उनका ही
आज की तारीख में देश की जो स्थिति है उस स्थिति के लिए पवार साहब का नेतृत्व ये देश के लिए जरूरी है।
सर हम चाहते हैं कि जो स्टेयरिंग चला रहा है वो स्टेयरिंग पवार साहब के हाथ में रहे, गाड़ी वो चलाए, उस गाड़ी में सब बैठेंगे, वो जहाँ दिल चाहे उनका ले चले, हम सब उनके गाड़ी में जाना
एक ही रहेगा?
नहीं, ही इज द चेयरपर्सन।
ही इज द चेयरपर्सन।
ही इज द चेयरपर्सन। टाइगर अभी जिंदा है ना, तो द वन एंड ओनली टाइगर शरद पवार साहब। शेर बूढ़ा भी हो जाए तो घास नहीं खाता, एंड ही इज द रियल रोरिंग टाइगर।
इस देश में धर्मांतर, ये देश में जाति पाति की लड़ाई, ऐसे परिस्थिति में शरद पवार साहब की देश में जरूरत है। हमारे जैसे युवक
यहाँ ही रहेंगे जब तक वो निर्णय वापस नहीं ले।
हम सब यही रहेंगे, वही रहेंगे।
आप तैयार क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि शरद पवार कहते हैं पार्टी को आगे बढ़ाना है, व्यक्ति पर फोकस मत कीजिए।
पवार साहब पार्टी की जान है, पवार साहब पार्टी का आत्मा है। पवार साहब नहीं रहेंगे तो पार्टी नहीं रहेगी। हमारा
अजीत पवार या सुप्रिया सुले कमान संभालेगी, आप तैयार नहीं रहेंगे?
साहब है, तब तक ऐसा सोच नहीं सकते हम लोग।
साहब आप सोच नहीं सकते ये?
तो दादा ताई ऐसा कुछ कहेंगे ही नहीं, हम कॉन्फिडेंट है। हमारे सब नेता, सबके नेता पवार साहब है, हमारे नेताओं के नेता भी पवार साहब है। जब तक साहब है, जब तक साहब रहेंगे, बाकी कोई नाम का हम लोग के दिमाग में नींद में नहीं, सपने भी
This is the way a political party is. NCP equals Pawar, Pawar equals NCP. Rajdeep, Sardesai for India Today. Okay, now let's try and understand and give you an explainer why this Pawar resignation is so important nationally. Remember, Maharashtra is the state with 48 Lok Sabha MPs, the second largest in the country, therefore becomes critical ahead of a general election year next year. The Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi alliance that was in power till last year, many believe could pose a strong challenge to the BJP in a state that the BJP did very well in 2019. Mr. Pawar is seen as the glue to hold the MVA together. Mr. Pawar is expected, therefore, to use his network to connect with opposition leaders, not just in Maharashtra, but across India. That's why Sharad Pawar matters in a way. The big question, of course, therefore, what is this power play all about then? Was this stage managed? Or is Sharad Pawar serious about stepping down as the NCP president? Or is the Pawar stranglehold or the Pawar family stranglehold over the NCP going to weaken? Some of the questions we'll raise. Joining me now, Dr. Jitendra Awad, senior NCP leader who today has resigned from his post as General Secretary. He wants Mr. Pawar to take back his resignation. Nikhil Wagale, senior journalist. Girish Kuber, editor Lok Satta, who was on the stage with Sharad Pawar when that dramatic announcement was made yesterday. And our Mumbai bureau chief, Sahil Joshi, are joining me. I appreciate all of you joining us. First to you, Jitendra Awad. Are you adamant that Sharad Pawar has to stay on as party president? Do you see any alternative to Mr. Pawar?
There can be no alternative to Mr. Pawar looking at the national scenario and his stature. I don't think there is any alternative in any other party also. So probably in the interest of the nation, I'm not talking about the state, in the interest of the station, the nation, when fascist parties are going, the democratic system is being stabbed, it's in danger. I think Mr. Pawar should think of the nation first. There's nothing more important than the nation.
Are you saying NCP has no other leaders other than Mr. Pawar who can take the party forward? Are you saying you are a one leader party?
Not one leader party, probably, to be very frank. There is nobody in the country of the stature of Mr. Pawar in any party. Forget about NCP.
Oh, come on,
Mr.
Awad, are you telling me that the likes of Narendra Modi, Mamata Banerjee,
I think that is what I wanted to make. That is what I wanted to make you clear was I'm not talking about BJP or the right wings. I'm talking about the center. I see, yes, Stalin is the leader. Mamata is a leader. Absolutely fine. But a person who can connect with Nitish Kumar, with Tejasvi Yadav, with Mamata Banerjee, with Stalin, with Sitaram Yechuri, with D. Raja, and all those who are in opposition parties, even Farooq Abdullah, I think the only man who can connect will be Sharad Pawar. And he has already said that I have no ambitions of becoming the Prime Minister. So somebody who can hold the fort of the oppositions together is Mr. Sharad Pawar. We have to agree about that.
Nikhil Wagale, do you believe what Jitendra Awad says, that the NCP cannot survive without Sharad Pawar?
Yeah, I agree with Jitendra Awad. NCP will not be same without Sharad Pawar. They can run the party, Ajit Pawar, Supriya Sule, they may run the party, but it will not be the same without Sharad Pawar. Sharad Pawar is indispensable for NCP. Sharad Pawar is architect of Mahavikas Aghadi, and now if he quits as president of NCP, it will affect adversely on Mahavikas Aghadi also. There are plenty of problems before Mahavikas Aghadi. So NCP needs Sharad Pawar and also Mahavikas Aghadi needs Sharad Pawar.
You're saying that the MVA needs Sharad Pawar. Girish Kuber, interestingly, you were on the stage when Sharad Pawar made that announcement. Were you also taken by surprise? Do you believe that there was an element of planning behind this? Or did Sharad Pawar suddenly wake up one morning and say, okay, I've had enough, I want to step down? It seems that he had planned this very carefully, perhaps many believe, to corner his nephew Ajit Pawar, who's planning, some say, to quit and join the BJP, or at least tie up with the BJP.
Rajdeep, you also have covered Pawar a lot, when you were in Mumbai. So one thing can be sure about Pawar is there is nothing extempore, nothing on the spur of a movement. There is nothing like just I thought so. But the way he has planned, and there is a clear-cut information, and which is now in the public domain also. 4 members of his family were completely aware of it, including Mr. Ajit Pawar. Everybody was in the loop. So it's not right to say that that's a shock and all that. Shock maybe for others on the like those workers kind of supporters, But it was well planned and well thought of move, because there were so many issues in the NCP. There were threats, there were reports about defection and a split. So it's a perfect strategy as far as Pawar's style of functioning is concerned.
So you think that he did this because he wants the entire party to unite before him. You expect him, therefore, to continue as party president after the 5th. You don't think that he will actually stick by his decision to step down?
No, he will not take the post, but the way Pawar functions, even if he's not holding the party post, I mean, he's going to be there. This is like, that's what I have written in Indian Express. This is like taking Tata away from Ratan Tata or JRD Tata. He will be like chairman emeritus, So he will continue to dominate the party. His shadow over whoever leads the party here onwards will always be there, So it's like a kind of a towering personality in the NCP. The party which can't do anything without Mr. Pawar.
So you're saying very interestingly that he could be a chairman emeritus in a way for the party. Sahil Joshi, you have been speaking to people close to Mr. Pawar. Is Mr. Pawar in any mood to take back his resignation? Yesterday and this morning he was very firm. But do you believe with every passing hour he's realizing that he will have to play some kind of a role, including possibly a chairman emeritus or a chairman's role within the NCP?
Well, it is very interesting the way, the answer to this question lies in the way the NCP was formed. The NCP is not the party which was formed the way Shiv Sena was formed, or for an example, Congress was formed. It is not the party which came out of some kind of a struggle or some kind of a movement. It was not the party which earlier was a kind of an organization and then later turned into a party. This is the party which is formed because of the rebellion by Sharad Pawar, P.A. Sangma and Tariq Anwar against Sonia Gandhi's leadership in 1999, and the people who joined the party in Maharashtra were already part of the Congress, and they joined NCP because they believed in Sharad Pawar's leadership. So there is a specific reason why these people have joined NCP. So there are some leaders within the party who at that particular time joined NCP looking at Sharad Pawar, are now thinking that if Sharad Pawar is not going to lead us, then who else? If somebody else come and start leading the party, then it is not acceptable to them because they joined this party because of Sharad Pawar. They believed in Sharad Pawar's leadership and that is the reason why they joined this particular party. So these are the people who are putting pressure on Sharad Pawar that if you have to do the succession plan, why now? When we are going to go for an election within a year's time, why not after a year? So today, what is the biggest difference what I'm looking at is on 5th of May, this particular committee which is formed by Sharad Pawar is now not going to take a decision about his successor, but first that committee will decide whether to accept Sharad Pawar's resignation or not, and that is a big shift from what the situation was yesterday. So now if this particular committee decides to reject the resignation of Sharad Pawar, then Sharad Pawar will either have to accept the decision of this particular committee or he will have to convince the committee that why they should be accepting his decision. So again, all over this fight will start. And most importantly, the problem,
you're making
as
a
I
very,
said,
you're
is going
making
to
a
be
very
that who is going
interesting
to lead the party. Yeah.
You're making a very interesting point, and I'll come to that in a moment, because a lot of regional parties face this question. Parties identified with an individual supremo. After the supremo, what? After Mamta, who? After Naveen Patnaik, who? After Sharad Pawar, who? But Jitendra Award, I just want to play a video. You really broke down yesterday. And I just listened to the manner. I want our viewers to see. This is Jitendra Award, senior leader of the NCP, former minister in the Maharashtra government. Listen in for a moment, and then I want you to react to this. Yes.
साहेब सर्वांची विनंती आहे छोट्याशा घरात जन्माला छोट्या समाज झालेल्या माणसाला इथपर्यंत आणलं साहेब तुम्ही कोणाकडे बघून राजकारण करायचं साहेब एकदा आम्ही घरी बसतो ना काय मग राहू द्या लोकांच्या बाबतीत मी तर नाही राजकारण आधारच नाही कोणाचा दादा सगळ्याची विनंती आम्ही घरी बसतो ना काय मग राहू द्या लोकांच्या आधारच नाही कोणाचा दादा
Mr. Awad, please explain the manner in which you emotionally reacted. I mean, there were those who have said that what happened yesterday could have been stage managed, but I'm presuming that your tears were genuine. What is this emotional connect? I mean, you know, is this sycophancy, Congress style, or is this simply love and affection that you claim you have for your leader?
See, Rajdeep, I came into politics and I am with him from 1987. Luckily, though from a small faction of society with no financial help, with no family help, I joined it. And it was Mr. Pawar who picked me up in my small, at an age when I had no political contacts with me. And thereafter he went on pushing me, went on pushing me, went on pushing me. There is no sycophancy in it. I love Mr. Pawar more than anything else. More than anything else. So, you know, I go to his place at 7 o'clock. If I have any problem, I call him at 2 o'clock. And there are times when he has sidelined senior leaders just to take my side. Many a times I have seen that whenever I have taken a stand and my senior leaders have opposed it, he has always said, "Na Jitendra barobar bolte." So
you're saying he's like a father figure. He's like a father figure to you.
He is not a. He is something which I can't replace. There's no use in being politic. If I join any other party, how will that leader of that party come to recognize me? Today I can go at any time, call him any time. He will answer my phone any time. He will call back any time. That is love and affection between him and me. That relations can't come back again. Now I'm 59. I have spent 35 to 37 years with him. And with no other leader, I don't go to anybody else. Not in our party, forget about opposition. In ruling party, no, I don't go to anybody. That's my habit.
Nikhil Wagner, listening to Jitendra Award, do you believe that this is why it will be difficult to replace a leader like Sharad Pawar? I am likening him to Mamta Banerjee in Bengal, to some extent Naveen Patnaik, but these are leaders who the parties identified with that individual. People have joined them because of the individual, not an ideology, but faith in Sharad Pawar. So, can Sharad Pawar settle the question after Pawar who?
Rajdeep,
is it possible?
I want to speak.
Yes.
Rajdeep, I want to speak on this. Mr. Sharad Pawar does have a progressive ideology. It is not only his figure, his ideology at times, what I speak, or what I deliver. Nikhil Wagle also knows about my behavioral pattern, the way I speak, what are my ideologies. And Mr. Pawar has been supporting it. At the time when my whole party was against me, I don't want to talk about that issue. But on that point also, he said, Jitendra Awad studies and speaks. I stand by him. So it is not that he has no ideology. He has a progressive ideology. And there is no person to match him at this stage for that ideology. There is a complete vacuum.
Okay.
So it is not about.
So you're saying he represents a
He's just.
I take the point. You claim he represents a. I take the point. You claim he represents a particular progressive ideology. You claim that he represents certain values that bring all of you together. But Nikhil Wagle, therefore, are we in a situation now where the NCP is faced with a real crisis of identity after Pawar? This question that therefore Mr. Pawar will have to continue as the leader of the NCP as long as he's alive.
Yeah, I think that is true, and I agree with you. After Pawar, Pawar has not finalized his succession plan. His successor is Ajit Pawar, Supriya Sule. After 10 years, his successor will be Rohit Pawar. All Pawars. Pawar generally opposes dynastic politics, but his successor is all from his own family. The problem is that what Jitendra Awad was telling, you can only compare this emotion, Pawar's popularity, with Bala Sahib Thackeray. I have seen the emotions, the atmosphere when Bala Sahib Thackeray resigned twice in his career. He wanted to resign from the as chief of Shiv Sena. When he got disgusted with all other leaders, Shiv Sainiks were anti-other leaders, but Shiv Sainik wanted Bala Sahib Thackeray to stay, to withdraw his resignation. So Sharad Pawar is taking a leaf out of Bala Sahib Thackeray's copybook. Finally, Bala Sahib Thackeray withdrew his resignation twice. That affection I see in NCP's cadre for Sharad Pawar. Only you can compare Shiv Sainik's affection for Bala Sahib Thackeray and NCP's affection for Sharad Pawar. So you use the right word. Sharad Pawar is a father figure for Maharashtra. There is a section of Maharashtrian crowd who loves Sharad Pawar. He is the most popular leader. I have criticized Sharad Pawar all along my life, but I must admit that now he is the most popular leader in Maharashtra after Bala Sahib Thackeray. So I think this entire crisis, Sharad Pawar has manipulated this crisis.
You're saying Sharad Pawar has manipulated this crisis to create a kind of emotional bond between him and the party workers. The workers in particular have this emotional bond. But Girish Kuber, various names were thrown just now by Nikhil Wagle, Supriya Sule, Ajit Pawar. Do you see any of them succeeding Sharad Pawar at all? Is that at all possible that they can fill in his shoes? Will it be a smooth transition? Or do you believe that Sharad Pawar is someone who simply the party will end with him? Is that possible at all, that the party can continue beyond Sharad Pawar?
There are 2 points. First thing is, I respect what Jitendra Awad is saying, his emotional connect, I can understand. But if there is anything that can be talked about Mr. Pawar's politics, his complete calculativeness and the way he strategizes everything. So there is everything in this except emotional part. Number one. Number two, we are ignoring the most important part in this decision, that is his wife. I was sitting right next there, and some of the leaders, they came and they suggested we are going to announce that he's going to withdraw. The way she tackled, no. I mean, that was a firm no from someone Pawar always has respected and who is the glue in the family. Mrs. Pawar has been extremely important as far as NCP family is concerned, Pawar family is concerned. And number three, we can't compare Sharad Pawar's resignation to what what Bala Sahib Thackeray did. For obvious reasons, because the entire Shiv Sena, the structure is based on, the edifice was emotion. The foundation was emotion. Shiv Sena's politics is all about emotions. This is nothing like what NCP is doing. So this is a very calculated move. He has a succession plan in his mind. And like the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Pawar will do something which is not you and me are anticipating or discussing
about. So who's the successor? So Girish, who do you think is the successor?
I still believe he will have some kind of a very a consultative kind of a role for himself. He will be a guide philosopher for the party, and there will be someone who is acceptable to all. Because having Ajit Pawar as a leader has its own consequences. Supriya will have her own issues with the party. So he will find some kind of a acceptable name to all. So I think it will be hazardous. Yeah.
Right. You're saying he will look for an acceptable face to all. But we are told that, Sahil, all of this has happened against the backdrop that several MLAs of NCP were keen to switch over or tie up with the BJP. Are the MLAs also firmly behind Mr. Pawar, or is it simply the party workers? The MLAs want to go to the, towards the BJP for protection. Do you get a sense that the party will fully unite behind Mr. Pawar in the days ahead?
Well, this is a very interesting scenario which is developed in NCP, what I'm seeing at this point of time. All the gentlemen here have seen the NCP since many years. In fact, have seen Sharad Pawar's politics since many years. But I have seen NCP being born in front of me. I started my career with NCP's birth as a political party. What the difference, what I'm trying to see here is that for the first time, including Sharad Pawar, people are trying to make differentiation between the elected representatives and the rank and file of the party. The way Uddhav Thackeray tried to do it when 40 MLAs went with Eknath Shinde. Not only they took the MLAs, but also party's name and the symbol, the party's identity was taken away by Eknath Shinde. Now Uddhav Thackeray claims that the Shiv Sainik, the rank and file is with me. Similarly, Sharad Pawar since last few days has been making comment like the MLAs, if they want to go, they can go. But the party rank and file, the party cadre is not going to side with the MLAs. They prefer to be with MVN. That is what I'm trying to do. So there is a clear-cut differentiation what Sharad Pawar is trying to make. Another point which was made is that he definitely had a calculated move. That is very clear. But what is more important is that there are leaders who have been trying to tell him that, look, we came to this party because we saw something in you, because we believed in your leadership, and we came into this party. Now what we are supposed to do? The cadre which he's talking about, that the cadre which should take over again after him, the people like Jayant Patil, Ajit Pawar, they are all from the same batch of the politicians. They came into NCP, forget Ajit Pawar, but rest of the people came into NCP because they believed in Sharad Pawar's leadership. Now, will they accept Ajit Pawar's leadership? Will they accept Supriya Sule's leadership? Will they accept anybody else's leadership? Is the question which Sharad Pawar had not thought about, I guess. And that is what exactly will prevent him. Last point, what I'm trying to say is that, yes, he will be firm on his decision. Yes, he will not change his decision. But yes, what I believe now is that there is a possibility that he may delay his decision. He may accept one point that, okay, if you don't want me to leave, I will eventually have to leave the leadership of the party, but maybe after the elections next year. Because when the election year is starting, the party with a new leader may have a problem. So that is the thing which he will have to answer to these particular.
So you're saying the possibility is there that Sharad Pawar could defer this decision to finally step down till the elections next year, the critical elections where Mr. Pawar still hopes to play a role. I can tell you from sources close to Mr. Pawar who I have spoken to today, they are saying Mr. Pawar actually intends to travel even more without the added burden of day-to-day organizational responsibilities across Maharashtra, to connect with leaders across the country and try once again to have a national role as well as an important role here in Maharashtra. Sharad Pawar is someone who, as I say, is a... Yes, please go ahead, Nikhil. Yes.
Rajdeep, yesterday night he was telling me that... Rajdeep, yesterday night he was telling me that we will tour more. We will have more seats and we will come back to power anyhow with Uddhav Thackeray and Congress together. We will increase our seats. I will tour more. And he was very clear about it. So, my feeling is that...
you're saying, as I said, I take your point, Jitendra. The fact is that Sharad Pawar, I keep saying, is the politician who's perhaps the most durable that we've known in a long time. He's fought cancer. He's fought several ups and downs in his political career. We can be critical of several aspects of his political career, but you cannot deny his sheer longevity and his ability to be a political survivor. And maybe this move too is part of that effort. I appreciate all my special guests joining me here on Pawar Power or Power Play. From there, let's turn to Karnataka, the election battleground state where the Prime Minister is campaigning extensively. Today, Mr. Modi held rallies in coastal Karnataka, a BJP bastion. He started, not surprisingly, by invoking Bajrangbali or Hanuman. The BJP evidently has made the Congress's promise to act against the Bajrang Dal an election issue. Take a look at the Prime Minister on the campaign trail.
Co-presented by Star Health Insurance, the health insurance specialist. Powered by Jaguar. Discover the magic of smart lights.
दोनों हाथ ऊपर करके मेरे साथ बोलिए, बजरंग बली की, बजरंग बली की।
Bajrang Bali, the revered Hindu god, is the new flashpoint in battleground Karnataka. Congress poll promise to ban Bajrang Dal, equating it with Islamist radical PFI, has triggered a massive slugfest, triggering angry protest by the Bajrang Dal and big attacks from the BJP, which called it Congress siding with PFI.
ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಆರಿಸಿ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಜರಂಗ ದಳ ಮಾಡೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಅವರ ನೀತಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಬಜರಂಗ ದಳ ಒಂದು ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕವಾಗಿ ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಂಘ. PFIಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಹೋಲಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದು ಸರಿಯಲ್ಲ. PFI ಈ ದೇಶದ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಿದೆ.
सिद्धारमैया जी को पहले PFI के विषय पर कर्नाटक की जनता से माफी मांगनी चाहिए, जिसने 175 केस वापस लिए. आज PFI बोल रहे बैन करेंगे. ये तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने एजेंडा सेट किया है, इसलिए तुमको बोलना पड़ रहा है.
Equating Bajrang Dal to PFI, which is a terror organization, is something that has taken Congress to the highest point of appeasement politics.
The Bajrangis staged protest in multiple cities, burnt Congress manifesto, and held Hanuman Chalisa chants in protest. Bajrang Dal workers clashed with police in Hyderabad. Protesters chanting Jai Shri Ram were detained by cops. The Congress accused Prime Minister Modi of hurting religious sentiments of Hindus by equating Lord Hanuman with the Bajrang Dal.
कांग्रेस पार्टी ने अपने मैनिफेस्टो में बजरंग बली को थाने में बंद करने का निर्णय किया है. पहले प्रभु श्री राम को ताले में बंद किया और अब जय बजरंग बली बोलने वालों को ताले में बंद करने का संकल्प लिया है.
ये रक्षा करते हैं हमारी. मोदी जी आपसे भी यही रक्षा करते हैं हमारी. इनसे आप तुलना कर रहे हैं बजरंग दल की. बजरंग दल की तुलना बजरंगी से करें और हम बर्दाश्त कर लेंगे? ये अपमान नहीं सहेंगे हम. कैसे अपमान कर सकते हैं वो बजरंग बली का हम?
During his mammoth rallies, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is making it a point to chant Bajrang Bali ki Jai to drive home the point that BJP will make it a poll issue.
बजरंग बली की, बजरंग बली की.
With Nagarjun Dwarkanath, Bureau Report, India Today.
भारत माता की.
Now, the one issue on the Karnataka campaign trail that seems to be the great equalizer this time is corruption. Remember, just a few weeks ago, a BJP MLA, Virupakshapa, and his son were found with crores of cash in their residence and offices. This was following a raid conducted by the Lokayukta. The fact is that corruption is one issue where the BJP in Karnataka certainly cannot claim the high moral ground. So why exactly is corruption not becoming an issue in terms of what the public has to say? And how is the Karnataka Lokayukta Justice B.S. Patil dealing with the issue of corruption? I spoke to him on our India Today Karnataka roundtable. Listen in to what Mr. Justice Patil had to say.
The Karnataka Lokayukta was making the headlines. You raided the office first of a BJP MLA, Madal Virupakshapa, his son. Crores of rupees were found there. Then you raided the residence of the MLA, and eventually both of them were arrested. But Mr. Virupakshapa is now out on bail. Are we to believe that what happened with Mr. Virupakshapa and his son, with the crores of rupees that were found in their residence cum office, are an exception or a rule? You acted presumably there on a complaint, but is it an exception or a rule that such large quantities of cash are available in the houses and offices of our MLAs in Karnataka? What is your sense?
No, I can't make a general statement like that, because only when a complaint comes, only when preliminary facts are placed before us, only when prima facie case is made out, our machinery is set in motion. Two complainants came, they gave complaint, we deliberated on it a couple of days and asked them to provide proper material, the foundational material. Then we decided to raid and search. And we registered a case under the Prevention of Corruption Act, and that is the only power under the Act, Prevention of Corruption Act, we can arrest. Under the Lokayukta Act, we can search and seize, but not arrest. But that was a case under the Prevention of Corruption Act, and we raided and we arrested. As regards whether it is all pervasive, whether all representatives, elected representatives, regardless of political affiliations are like that, I cannot make a statement like that. It will not be fair to make a statement like that, because in every field there are honest people. In every field there are dedicated, committed people. And at the same time, in every field, the cancer is spreading, unfortunately.
But Mr. Virupakshapa, as I said, is now out on bail. He in fact was hoping for a ticket, was denied it, went back to his constituency where he was given a hero's welcome. I mean, what's the, when you see those images, here is someone who's been caught with large amounts of cash in his house, goes back and gets a hero's welcome, had actually gone in hiding for a few days. I come back to it. You believe this is the exception or the rule?
No, this is where you have posed a very right question, the perception of the people and their attitude towards corruption and corrupt people. It should pain us. It should shock us to such an extent that we should rebel against it. Instead, if you want to celebrate that, if you want to give a hero's welcome to people like that, then it will send a very wrong message to the common man that even when a person is guilty of corruption, is caught with so much of money, he will, for his bail, he will celebrate it. He will give him a hero's welcome. So that is a very, very bad trend, and that should not have been done. That should not be done.
Because when you say rebel, Justice Patil, I want to understand there are a number of citizens, and I know Bengaluru in particular is full of very conscientious citizens who are always lamenting about corruption, whether it is the quality of the roads, whether it's potholes, your BBMP in particular is highly corrupt. Are you telling them, when you say rebel, come out, give specific complaints, and the Karnataka Lokayukta will act on them?
Definitely. That is my invitation. I have been doing that. I am telling the Bangaloreans, I am telling the Kannadigas, Karnataka citizens, not only about these kinds of corruption, other maladministration. We have powers under the Karnataka Lokayukta Act. Any maladministration. What is maladministration? maladministration is any negligent act on the part of the official concerned, public servant, any unreasonable delay on his part in attending to the work which he is assigned, any nepotism, favoritism, any substandard work in discharge of his work as an engineer or any other officer.
Okay, let's take a break at this point. When we return, we are turning to our good news today story. It's the story of a 6-year-old Arishka Ladda who went to the Everest base camp. Her story when we return.
Karishma, take us through all the key numbers of the case and what happens to passengers who booked their tickets.
Absolutely. Go Air is Limited's Go First, which is India's third largest airline, like you mentioned, has filed for bankruptcy, and clearly it does not look it's almost a turbulence in the air, because Go Air has been one of the low-cost airlines and holds a market share of close to about 6.7% as per latest numbers by DGCA. Now, if I take you that through numbers that how the airline management has tried to keep the airline afloat, it is that they have invested close to rupees 6,500 crores until now. In fact, so to so, the first one being 3,200 crores, followed by 2,400 crores, and the latest one of 290 crores in April in order to keep the airline running and going. But because of their existing issues on engine supply and also their settlement with oil marketing companies, their cash flows have been severely impacted, and they have claimed close to rupees 8,000 crores in order to get back to functioning. Now, they're waiting for the NCLT to admit their case, and if that happens, then there is a likelihood that they may look at resumption of flights, and if that does not happen, then we know that how the whole process with the bankrupt airline goes ahead. In terms of passengers who booked their tickets, the management has said that they're going to soon take a decision after one key important meeting with the CEO is going to go on for the next one day, and by tomorrow they should be able to give some update to the passengers. But the big question is what happens to those flights that have been on schedule under the summer schedule also of DGCA from May 5th, that is after the given suspension. Currently it shows available, but if the situation is not favorable, because it is highly unlikely for the NCLT to quickly admit the cases because of the case load that even the tribunal is currently holding. So it is unlikely that flight resumption could take in as soon as possible, and that also means a lot of passengers may lose their money. So quick question, tomorrow if the DGC and the government officials may try to review the case and see what the best could be done.
Welcome back. You are with the news today. Let's bring you our good news today story. And it's a story of a 6-year-old Arishka Ladda who went to the Everest base camp. Arishka's parents now dream of their little girl one day scaling Everest itself, provided, of course, that she's interested in becoming a mountaineer when she grows up. But for now, she's quite remarkable. 6 years and at the base camp. It's our good news today story. And a note on which I must end the show tonight. Good night, goodbye, Jai Hind, Shubhratri, Namaskar.
Arishka Ladda has become the youngest Indian to reach the Mount Everest base camp at a height of 17,500 feet. The 6-year-old from Pune was accompanied by her mother, Dimple Ladda, on the 15-day expedition.
was really a very happy moment for me. The moment she completed, it was like a dream come true, setting a record, and especially for her, it was a lot difficult. The temperature variation is way too much because it was minus 17 over there. We have never experienced such freezing temperature. The terrain was tough. It was we used to trek about 6 to 8 hours.